Yeah, like it wasn't like nature's test to be like, this is the most delicious thing you'll ever eat. Gotcha.
Too many people are just spewing out like take rapamycin without thinking about the consequences.
How do you not know about that? Like, I'm not putting my life and my baby's life in your hands if you're not aware of this.
They would always go, okay, we have this great new drug. Tell me the bad. And of course, they always say, oh, it's only in 1% of the population. No, it's probably 20%. Okay.
And I was like, I'm so tired, I'm exhausted, which everyone's kind of exhausted in their first trimester. And my acupuncturist was like, you need to eat meat right now.
Pregnant women look like they have diabetes because they're burning a lot more fat, but this is temporary. This is a sacrifice like mothers make.
Her son, if he touched milk, if it got on
Really?
his skin,
Right.
he would
Wow.
break out in hives.
Unfortunately, we're seeing an increase in allergies. It's because the gut is just foundationally not healthy.
Bryan Johnson recently put out this like massive tweet because he no longer wants to run his business. Hello and welcome to another episode of Celluverse. I'm joined by Dr. Connealy, the one and only,
Hello, everyone.
and Jess Donovan,
Hi.
and myself, Alannah Connealy, and we're so excited to be with you guys today. Every single day, Jess, my mom, and I talk about health, and we're, letting you guys in on what we actually think about the most interesting and controversial health topics. Nothing is off the table. Oh, how are you guys today,
I'm doing great.
Jess?
I feel amazing.
You went to the fair last night.
I went to the fair last night with
Did-
my entire family.
Did you eat corn on the cob?
I did not partake. I let
Too much GMO.
no. I mean, we all had In-N-Out before.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just, it's not my vibe. I did let my kids have a chocolate dip cone, which they were thrilled about. And they ate every single bit of it.
Do you eat the In-N-Out, by the way? Are you chill with that? With the seed oils involved?
The thing, okay, In-N-Out, it's like a spiritual thing for me. Like,
If you
I
don't
have
mind
so many
yes.
fond memories, the
same.
Bible verse on the bottom of
Yeah.
it. It's like so wholesome.
Yeah.
And my sons get so much joy from eating it. And so every once in a while, I will partake and be like, this is a
Yeah.
fun thing that we're doing together. Like, I love this. But for the most part, it's like not my favorite meal ever. But the memories are the most important part.
And they use like solid ingredients overall, I've heard.
I mean,
That's what they represent. And for some reason, I've selectively chosen.
it was like one of the only fast food chains I was allowed to eat growing up.
Yeah.
So like, because I ate it as a child, I can like wrap my head around it. Whereas
Mhm.
like if I were to be on a road trip and like someone suggested McDonald's, I don't think I could do that. But
No.
In-N-Out for some reason has like a wholesome place
Yeah.
in my heart. And so
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny when my patients come from outside of California, they're like, we're going to an In-N-Out.
yeah.
And we got the with without the bread,
The protein style.
Yes.
That's what I did. I did the protein style, no sodium on the patties. Makes it a little
I guess
better.
their patties don't have seed oils in them.
right. That's what I've heard. That's the
So-
latest, greatest.
Oh, really? That's the latest greatest in In-N-Out.
The In-N-Out.
Well, my older brother used to work there, Robert, in high school. He worked In-N-Out.
I mean, I think they really take care of their employees.
They
So
do.
Yeah.
again, spiritually, it just works.
Mhm.
It's not going to be the best, but
This should be a sponsored bit for In-N-Out.
yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, we should reach no. Anyways, in today's episode, we're starting with Pulse Check, how we start every episode, which is just like the news stories this week in health. What's going on? What are the vibes in the world and in the wellness world? And I saw this tweet about this trend called Pink Pilates Princess. Mom, you might not be familiar because you're not on TikTok.
No.
But like if you
What
had to
is
guess,
that?
if you had to guess, what
I
is it?
better guess, like, oh wow, pink outfit in Pilates.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a consumer that enjoys Pilates and self-care, invests in premium athleisure wellness and accessories and beauty as part of their lifestyle. And it's kind of this like growing trend, which
Okay, well, let's face it. They're exercising, so that's really good.
That's pro.
Okay, they're trying to acute, which is also
Yeah.
really good. You
Also
don't want to
great.
ever forget about like trying to be acute.
You look good, feel good.
Yes.
practically no notes on this drive.
Right.
No, there's a few. Mostly, well, I actually was saying that I think it's like a response to the CrossFit era
Yes. The pendulum's always swinging. So it's like
Mhm.
we're no longer flipping tires. We're putting our pink outfits on.
Yeah, and like little
We're,
wraps and
we're getting back into our feminine.
And like there's something about a $45 reformer class that enters your spirit symbolically. You're like, oh, I am awesome and special.
Yeah, like I'm better than
I'm
everyone
better
that
than
didn't
you.
do this today.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it sets the tone for sure. Especially if you're doing like a midday. You're like, huh. So you can go to Pilates
At
in the middle
noon.
of the day
Mm-hmm.
in your cute little outfit with your seed oil drink. Like, it's like a virtue signal.
Once the girlies get on raw milk lattes or just milk and whole milk, cow milk, then I will be pleased with this trend. But I think to this day they're still repping almond and coconut or something else.
I'm not mad at coconut milk if it's done well.
But when is it done well?
Okay, it's not done well a lot.
Right. But when it is done well,
It's
I
so
like
delicious.
coconut milk.
Erewhon, if you, their coconut milk, not to like praise them too much, but their coconut
So
milk
good.
is unreal. And you can kind of make that at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can get like frozen Zuma Organics coconut cream, and then you mix that in the blender with coconut water,
Mm-hmm.
and it is
amazing.
so delicious.
Yeah.
So I've never been an alt milk girl because I frankly think it's disgusting. Like coffee is so sacred. And so it is supposed to be paired with like beautiful full fat dairy, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But if you're like gonna not do dairy, like I'm okay with coconut milk.
milk's the best out of all of
Coconut
them.
milk is this is most like nature.
Well, it's also delicious. So like we're not depriving ourselves of anything. Whereas nobody likes almond milk. Like you're lying to yourself.
It's so watery. I
oat
can't
milk. Like have you seen the separation when like someone gets an iced latte? It's absolutely disgusting.
I haven't seen that because I
Well, it's
anyone.
more with almond milk actually.
Oh, okay.
But you have to think about the people who can't do dairy.
That's true.
Okay.
But that's
So-
because of some sort of gut imbalance that they need to address, I think.
Well, could possibly be, right?
I
that
don't
they-
think people are
that-
allergic to milk.
Yeah, well, I think it just depends because everybody's different in the world we're living in. And if you think about the millions of chemicals that are going through our entire gastrointestinal tract, it's hard for sometimes to people, not have food allergies because of what we're exposed to today.
And what I mean by
So-
that is it's usually caused by a deeper issue.
Yeah,
I
like
don't.
there are allergies, but
There are allergies.
I not just an allergy.
Right. But I know when growing up that we had the milkman come in glass bottles and we all drink milk, okay?
I wish we
And so
had that
everyone
today.
did. That was a long, long time ago. And so, but today, unfortunately, we're seeing an increase in allergies. It's because the gut is just, but basically, not foundationally not healthy. And
Milk
so,
is such a beautiful, perfect food as well.
yes, it
Oh,
is.
it's so
It can be.
It
yeah,
can be.
It can
right.
be. I have a friend that her son, she's since reversed this allergy actually with exposure, but if he touched milk, if it got on
Really?
his skin,
Right.
he would break out
Wow.
in hives.
Right.
Interesting.
And there's actually, I don't know, Jess, if you've heard of this, it's called NAET therapy. It was actually
NET?
NAET.
Oh, okay.
So it was named after the Indian lady natural allergy elimination technique. So actually, it's a very, very good thing if anyone has like serious allergies to do that, and it's done all over. And so I think if people really want to deal with their allergies, I always think, okay, look, when I get a patient where they have lots of allergies, I go, your gut's not healthy. You can have 30
Totally.
allergies. But then when it comes down to it, they do everything and they still maybe end up that,
Or maybe
oh,
they're not meant to eat that food.
right, exactly. So again,
There's options.
I believe
but
in more like sensitivities than like allergies.
Yeah.
But I had a friend's daughter who was allergic to bees. And like there was the last time she got stung by a bee, she was like on a swing set singing and the bee flew in her mouth and then she went into like anaphylactic shock. It was like,
whoa.
and so it was like really traumatic for her because she was like, I was just living my life enjoying things and I got stung by a bee. So she had like PTSD anytime a fly came by. She was like, thought it was, she had to have the EpiPen, everything. And so my friend was like, before she goes to college or, when she's off on her own a little bit more, I don't want her to be so nervous out in the world. So she did do that therapy where it was like the exposure to the bee and then she's reversed it.
Right.
Which
That's
is
awesome.
beautiful,
Yeah.
in my
it is.
opinion, because I love bees.
Mhm.
I get stung by them often.
Yeah, didn't you get stung like
Well,
last
we're
week?
alive because of the bees. so.
Exactly. I'm like, there's so
Like the
much to be
bees.
thankful for when it comes to bees. So
They're absolutely
nobody should fear them.
Yeah.
And I understand being allergic to them, but like, Let's just live in harmony with the bees.
Okay, back to the Pilates princesses, guys.
Okay. There's so many things to unpack.
Also, people also, no, I know I just said back to Pilates princesses, but people do ask us if we drink raw milk like every day. And I just think it's kind of difficult to procure raw milk, but you have a milkman.
I do have milk.
You have a milk mule and a cow situation.
Yes.
Or, yeah, for your meat.
Yes. I mean, I've tried a bunch of raw milk and I'm like a connoisseur of sorts, I would say. I like did a raw milk cleanse like a few months ago where I just did milk for 8 days and it was life-changing. I've never felt so zen.
Wow.
But in that time, I like drank so much milk on its own. So then I got really into like the different brands, like
Right.
seeing what the difference is in taste. And so on that journey, I was like, I need to find myself the best milk possible. And there's a lot of Amish farms that you can get milk from, but you have to like ship it and it's shipped frozen. And although if that's like the best you can do, I think it's still delicious. But because I have such a sensitive palate, I can tell the difference between frozen milk versus the fresh, you know? So I found this man that I get milk from like twice a month. And it's a big situation, but I get my milk, get my dairy, I get my meat.
We worked with him through you.
Yes.
You're kind of
A
the
beautiful
central
man,
node.
Great soul.
Yeah.
Like I'm so thankful that he exists and does the work that he does because I can't go back to just going to the store and getting my milk, which I do because we're all human
Right.
and not everything's perfect all the time. But when I can control it.
And fortunately, here we do have availability.
Mother's
Raw.
Market.
Mother's Market.
But
Mother's
like,
sections.
I know I don't like the raw milk they have at Mother's Market.
Okay, I like Clairville.
I love Clairville.
I love Clairville.
That's at Erewhon. I didn't.
No, that's at Mother's too.
Oh, really?
Mother's knows what they're doing.
Yes, they do. Been around a long time.
Yeah. They're a
Not
little
me.
bit more corporate than they used to be. 'Cause I
Yes.
used to be able to make like
Well,
requests.
right.
And be like, I need this in, I need this
Yeah.
flavor. And they used to be so amazing. And now they're like, you need to send that to our people. And I'm like, your people.
Yeah,
Can't
because
you
you
can't-
Yeah.
years ago, because I remember doing my first lectures at Mother's Market, and I did some commercials for them too. And you had contact with they were the founders.
Yeah.
Okay, these unbelievable grassroots humans that just wanted this perfect store, and it is a great store. And then, of course, they got bought out.
I think it was like
And-
Baja Fish or something
And-
random.
But now it's still good.
yeah,
It's still good, but
it's just a little bit more corporate.
yes.
But,
so,
you know, that's just what happens with
Yeah.
time. And if you can find a small little grocer that's still romantic, do that.
yes.
It's not accessible for everyone. And I understand that.
Okay. Any final thoughts on the Pink Pilates princesses?
I think the heart of it is pure and good.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, you're wearing your pink Pilates outfit, which is going to be full of synthetic fibers,
Oh, right.
and that's not helping our fertility.
Mm-mm.
And on your way to Pilates, you're probably going to get a coffee
With almond milk.
with almond milk.
If you
Um,
listen to this podcast,
No,
milk truthers over here.
exactly. We cannot be bought by big
Well, and the
milk.
coffee needs to be organic.
by
and-
big
I mean, the whole process needs to be ceremonial.
Exactly.
The founder of Malk lives in Austin, and I always want to like message him. I'm like, do you really drink that? He looks too buff to be drinking Malk. You know what I'm talking about? They do like
Yeah.
almond milk.
Uh-huh.
And
I mean, if you're going to do it, they do use good ingredients and it's
Yeah.
very simple.
yeah.
But again, like you're never going to find like the amount of almonds that are needed to produce a cup of almond milk, you're never going to eat that in one sitting, or at least you shouldn't,
Right.
because it's not going to make you feel
Yeah,
great.
and there's not enough calcium. Like the good thing, one of the main benefits of milk is like it's not a joke. Like it's very high in calcium, and that's so important for you, for your body to live.
I just want all the Pink Pilates girlies out there to start drinking some milk.
Yeah,
That's pretty much your protein shake. You don't even need your protein with your other extra added ingredients. You can
Mm.
just
Yeah.
go.
I think they're doing their thing. They're cute. They're getting their workout in.
Yes.
There's not a lot of like substance in meeting. It kind of seems kind of like soulless in a way, as far as the video routines on TikTok. But I guess it's better.
But they're
than
getting out there.
But
They're
they're
What's their
exercising.
mission, though?
Their mission is to look hot and feel hot, and maybe have a little bit of bloating because of all the things. That
their
they're
mission is to
ingesting.
feel better than everyone else with their $55 Pilates class, and it works. The problem is I participated.
None of us are blameless here.
So that's the story there. Okay, next up on the docket, we had kind of interesting. Bryan Johnson recently put out this like massive tweet thread that he is hiring a CEO and CTO because he no longer wants to run his business.
His supplement business,
Surprise,
actually.
surprise, yeah. And we were just chatting because it's like, because you have no conviction, because you don't know what you're selling, because you have no attachment to actually what you're putting out there, like in terms of like the substances. Like when you're like, I sell progesterone, I'm very attached spiritually to that substance. I can't just like say I'm hiring a C, it doesn't work like that because you're attached to things you really love. You don't just leave.
Right.
Yeah.
You
He's
have complete conviction and passion about the product. And I think though he's lost that and it probably doesn't really give the results that probably he thought it was going to do.
and like the product's not that great, so he's probably tired. And it's hard for him to do it when he's like very low energy. His temps are so low.
Oh, true.
There's
And
It
like he's
hasn't helped him. And he's like,
no,
I don't want to deal with this anymore.
that's true. This says a lot more about his like stamina than anything.
Yes.
Like I'm worried that if you're like burnt out after what, like a year and a half, I don't think
He's
your
only
supplements are
40-something
working.
years old, too.
Not gonna make it.
No. And he's selling like curcumin and like saying this is gonna make you not die, which is the opposite. Everything's the opposite, right? It's a very curcumin's a very oxalate heavy substance. It's not something you want to just willy-nilly take every day. You have to be strategic with curcumin. You know.
Yeah. I watched the episode of the Kardashians that he was featured on.
Oh, really?
And it was crazy because like, I mean, I personally love the Kardashians. It's, my hot take. We love to see girl bosses winning. But it's like Kim had more interesting things to say than he did.
Wow.
And I love my girl, but like he's supposed to be the one that's like,
Well, he
this
doesn't
pioneer.
He doesn't have anything interesting to say because he doesn't know what he's saying.
Well, he doesn't believe it. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not in his heart. It's not like that strong conviction of being like, this is the right thing to do. That's why I'm doing it. And I'm trying to like spread my gospel of sorts to like far and wide because this has helped me so much. He's just like, I'm not gonna die maybe.
Mhm.
Like, what?
Yeah. And what I was gonna say is, what was I gonna say about Bryan, our boy?
He's very forgettable, I understand.
I know. Oh no, what I was gonna say is on a podcast, someone was like, "So why do you recommend rapamycin?" And he was like, "I don't know. Like I don't know. I have to check with my doctors on that." And it's like, then why are you promoting it if you don't know anything about it? Like it takes a long time to learn about the substances and cells and biology. You like too many people are just spewing out like take rapamycin without thinking about the consequences. But he for some reason thinks he was like given the holy bible of like longevity.
Well, in all due respect, he is on a discovery odyssey
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to figure it all out. He goes from tech and making his millions and then like, okay, I'm 40-something, how not to die. Okay, great. That's
But then he shouldn't be selling nut butter.
right, right. He should be really, really taking a deep dive and really doing his own, clinical analysis, so to speak, and his own observational and analysis. And that's the beauty of kind of being a clinician is like, I remember years ago when the drug reps used to come to my office. I don't have drug reps come to my office now, but they would always go, okay, we have this great new drug. It's going to lower the blood pressure and it's got this kind of efficacy rate and so forth and so on. And so I go, so tell me the bad. Okay. What do I need to expect when the patient calls me and says, oh, I've had a cough ever since I've been taking this blood pressure medicine. I've had this, da, da, da. So, and of course they always say, oh, it's only in 1% of the population. No, it's probably 20%. Okay. It's a lot larger than what they say. And so I think that people, you have to really like take a deep dive into these things, like not for a minute, not for a year, but years. And then like look and see what happens. And like we were talking about earlier, every individual is unique and different in how they respond and how they process. And there's just not this one size blanket approach. Everybody should take this. There are some commonalities, but like some people may have a great vitamin D and they don't need vitamin D because we can check the level easily, which is something everyone should have maybe once a year. And so I think he's just learning all this and he's on the fast track plan to learn, but there's no fast track to learn all this stuff. And then it's not just learning about it, it's execution in the live person.
Yeah, I feel like his thing too is like it's don't die. He's like this like perfect specimen in a way where I think so much of like your health journey is like when you realize like okay, I've been doing everything right and this still doesn't feel good to my body. Like what's going on and you have to like look deeper. He doesn't have any of that. He's like so prideful that he's like I have figured the fountain of youth. Like this is you just keep on doing this and you have 25 erections while you're sleeping. Like this is an amazing thing. But there's no like humbling of being like I have felt so sick and like I'm
Yeah.
trying to this isn't making me feel good.
And my temperatures are like 93 degrees,
and
which
also-
isn't normal.
Yeah, on his schedule, he only eats once a day. I mean, okay.
That is a fast track to ruining your metabolism.
Yes, exactly. You're going to be a Volkswagen, not a Ferrari. So come on.
Yeah, and like what's your community like when that's happening? Like it just
You can't have a community because how many people will actually do it? I know there's diehard people out there that will do an experiment with these
Yeah.
stuff, but it's not reality. And community's the guru of the future. So, where is your community?
it's kind of a godless experience, I think, that to eat once a day
Yeah.
by himself.
TBT to when I went on a Raya phone date with him one time. He probably doesn't remember that. But this is actually a testimony that women are clairvoyant. So I saw him on Raya and I was like, this man will be famous soon. Like I physically felt that. And he had like 1,000 followers on Instagram. He didn't even start posting. And so that's why I went on the phone date. And he was so boring. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I should be saying this. Oops. Oh my gosh, but no, this is not a lie. Like I'm
think
dead
it is
serious.
funny.
It is really funny. We went on a phone date. But I seriously, guys, I did it for like research for
Had to.
yeah. For scientific research. He says he's a scientist. I'm the real scientist doing like going behind the scenes as a clairvoyant, woman, I guess. And then yeah, I was like chit-chatting the entire time because I can talk about health forever. And he didn't have anything to say because he doesn't know about health really in depth. And I was like, wow, I don't think this is going to work. I need like, I'm addicted to like earnest voices, like conviction, attachment to what you're saying.
Yeah,
And I didn't hear that.
it's not existent. He's like, let me check in with my doctors to see what their opinion is. on
Exactly.
what you're saying.
Because it's not going to work for me.
No.
So, needless to say, it didn't lead to another date. He's probably going to be like, who are you? But no,
So he's moving on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, whatever.
Aren't you all?
Well, I think honestly this bodes well that he's hiring a CEO because when you hire a CEO incumbent, like there's a reason founders do really well with their business usually over like incumbent, CEOs because they have more attachment to it.
There's passion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like real. So honestly, it's kind of a win. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
It's a win for humankind. The company's not going to do well. We're all going to survive this.
It's a win for people with brains.
Yeah.
If you ever bought from Blueprint, I don't know. We're worried about you.
No, keep listening. Keep listening.
Text us. We'll help you. Don't worry. Quick break for our amazing sponsors at Superpower. Superpower.com makes it so easy to get answers about what's going on inside you. You can literally order 100 lab tests from your computer. It's absolutely amazing. And right now we have a discount code for listeners, Celluverse. We'll have the link in bio, but you can also go to superpower.com and input your discount for $100 off your lab tests. And again, this is an amazing way to see what's going on with your hormones, your gut health. They even have early detection for cancer and a clinical team in your pocket. It is absolutely amazing. We are advisors for this company because we believe in their mission. We believe in what they're doing for the future of health. So back to the show. Okay, so next up on the body map, we're continuing the theme of conception because we got so many questions of like prenatals, ultrasounds, gestational diabetes. And you guys are moms and I write about health every day. So I thought we could go through some of these questions that people had. One of the big ones was prenatals. And did you take a prenatal when you were young?
When I was young, I did. So when I was pregnant with my first, which was like about 6 years ago, I took ritual prenatals because at the time that was like the cutting edge and everyone was like, oh, this is the best. We got our omegas in there. So I did take ritual. And then when I was pregnant with my second, I got older and wiser and I just did like organ supplements. So I did like blood soil. Is it blood and soil? Heart and soil.
Heart and
Heart and
Heart and soil. I took blood at one point, one of his supplements, because I was
Right.
like, let's get the iron up.
Mm.
But so that's what I did for my second. And turns out if you have a really nutrient dense diet, prenatals aren't the end all be all like they say it is.
Right. Well, it's I think it's important to get an analysis of your nutrients to see what do you really have and what do you really need, as opposed to be willy-nilly with it. And so that's when doctors go to school, they take biochemistry, and biochemistry is all about how vitamins and minerals work in your body. So you need them. And unfortunately, today, people have deficiencies because, yes, the food, what they're eating is not nutrient dense. And I think in pregnancy, like you should be as wonderful as possible with your intake. I mean, really, really be mindful and get the most nutrient dense food. Have the doctor do a nutrient assessment, and then also be careful about, taking too much of stuff, because a lot of people do take too much
Because they
of
think it's like a good thing,
thing,
and then they
right? And
overdo
they
it.
overdo it.
Yeah, Hayden, my best, one of my good friends, she was taking a prenatal with iron, and it gave her like incredibly high iron to where she like had to see an oncologist at one point. And we did a long post on this, so but like the gist of it is that, well, I personally think like the unbound iron in the prenatals, like I would never take those, and I think people should be cautious about it because iron is super important to have like healthy levels of. But the problem is flours and cereals are already fortified with a lot of iron. And so, a lot of people are getting now too much. And then when you're pregnant, estrogen increases the absorption of iron. And so you have to be really careful that you're kind of not overloading on too much iron. And then the second problem is the omegas mixed with the iron in the prenatal is like a recipe for oxidative stress. So a lot of people are just like, oh, I'll just take this prenatal with iron and omegas. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that can be so dangerous if you're getting too much of all of that.
I know, but they're being told like this is what's going to make your baby the healthiest. And anyone like going into pregnancy, it's not like they're like, oh, I want to do the wrong thing. Like I'm going to create this baby and I'm going to do the wrong thing. They're doing what they think is the best. It's just sometimes the information out there is a little bit cloudy and,
Right. And again, each person is unique. So how the chemical reactions that take place in your body could be different than the other
Yes,
person.
but omega-3s are chemically unstable. And so that's how they are.
Yeah.
And so you have to be super careful with
And try to get it from food.
you should try to get as much of these nutrients naturally in food because nature is naturally perfect. And like the iron in meat is different than unbound iron in a weird supplement that you don't even know where they're making it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I don't know. I think people are taking these prenatals like way too willy-nilly, but you're right. It's because they think they're doing the right thing.
yeah. And you can only do so much with the information that you have. And hopefully everything works out okay. But we're here to tell you that's not what you need to do.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, basically, okay, so I was reading that elevated maternal iron levels were linked to reduced infant length. High maternal iron status was associated with lower cognitive scores in infants at 6 months, and an increased risk of childhood type 1 diabetes was observed in offsprings for mothers with high iron levels during pregnancy.
Interesting. So that means that pregnant women should have a serum iron and a serum ferritin. So iron is what's floating around. Ferritin is the storage of iron. So your ferritin should be around 50, give or take. If you have elevated levels, there's probably something else going on. Either your intake is too much, your storage, have something going on maybe in your liver, lots of different reasons. So ferritin, which is the storage of iron, can be an inflammatory free radical producing thing. In fact, there's a disease called hemochromatosis, and hemochromatosis is where you overstore iron, and it can be problematic in your liver and your heart and your brain. So it's not that's something we routinely check on every single person, because one of the big things that I see, and Alannah mentioned it earlier, was fatty liver. And fatty liver is about 35 to 40% of the population, so they can't process the iron, so then the ferritin goes up. And so that's not good for your body. So it's actually a very, very common problem.
My second pregnancy, I did my blood work, and it was nearing my third trimester, and my hemoglobin was lower than they wanted it to be, because when you're doing a home birth, you have to have pretty good levels in
Right.
case you bleed out a little bit, which
Mhm.
I do every time. And I got it back, and it was like kind of at the edge of being like good. And so then I was like, okay, let's look at my ferritin, and my ferritin was really low. So like I had to strategically
Go eat liver.
yes, I had a butcher at the time that was like so amazing, and I would like have him make these patties for me that were these breakfast patties that I had him put liver in, and it was like so perfect and delicious, and like every morning I would just eat those with like a little bit of maple syrup, and it was just the greatest thing. But then I had to make sure I wasn't doing that too close to like milk, and then I would drink a glass of orange juice when I was eating the liver, so it would help with the iron absorption.
Yeah.
It was a whole process, but everything worked out in the
Yeah,
end.
and that's a very Ray PD concept that
Yes.
if you orange juice with your meat, you'll have increased iron absorption. And like he was saying that like be careful
Yeah.
because you don't want too much iron, but sometimes you may want more iron
Yes.
absorption. So it just depends. So use that little hack as you will.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you figured that out.
Yeah, I
That's
did
great.
that without
But
anything.
that's what I'm gonna do. I mean, personally, like obviously because doctors are like they are pushing these prenatals like crazy. So I think it's very taboo to be like, I'm not gonna take a prenatal, but I'm gonna try my best just to eat well.
Yeah,
like
and if
normally.
you get like I got like a few blood tests throughout my pregnancy. It's like you can, you can also tell when your body is not doing well.
Yeah.
You're like I remember my first trimester when I was pregnant with my first, I went to an acupuncture appointment, and I was like, I'm so tired, I'm exhausted, which everyone's kind of exhausted in their first trimester. And my acupuncturist was like, you need to eat meat right now. Like, and I just didn't eat a lot of meat at that time. And so it was like 6 p.m. I was like leaving her office, and there was this place called Babette's on
Yeah.
Yes.
Newport Coast, and I just called in meatballs, and I literally like sat in my car and like ate like 3 meatballs just in my car, and I like felt like life come back into my body, and it's like you can do it that way.
I mean, that's the point of our cravings is to go.
It's so
It's a
beautiful.
compass
Yeah,
for what
and
we
if you
need.
get just like quiet enough to like listen to that, it can
Yeah.
be so beautiful and like nourishing.
Mhm.
So true. Like well, a lot of animals can actually synthesize what vitamins they need, like through their droppings. Like rats do that when they need like a certain vitamin, they like eat their poop.
Interesting.
But a lot of animals do. We have this in a different way. Like we self-medicate through our cravings and through other, natural instincts.
I have a really interesting acupuncturist I just started seeing recently. It's like I go to her like garage, and she like will put needles in you, and then she'll have you do different movements while you have the needles in you. And so it's like I leave and I'm so sore. But essentially she'll like have me do like a boat pose, and she goes, "Do this until your body starts shaking. And once your body starts shaking, that's when it starts producing the vitamins that your body needs." I don't really even know what that means, but I trust her. I trust her, and I feel so good when I see her. I'm like,
Jess has the craziest. She's like, she operates out of a garage. I'm like, which garage? Like, hers or just like a one on the street?
it's her garage in like Garden Grove, and it is she's amazing. I'm like obsessed with her.
No, she sounds so
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
And she's
Interesting.
practicing her art.
She's very intuitive.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, so other people asked about ultrasounds, which I mean, I think they're universally promoted, but I think there's also some interesting potential things to consider.
Well, my opinion on ultrasounds is there's a time and place for everything. Obviously, sometimes like you use them as a tool, and I'm so thankful for modern medicine that we have it.
Yeah.
But sometimes people do it too often, and so much of like that 10 months of when you're pregnant, things can change. So you could get an ultrasound and have like a horrible report, and then you worry about it for weeks until your next one, and then the next ultrasound, like everything's totally fine, this is a completely normal baby, everything's great, and it's like, oh, I was nervous for what? So sometimes having access to too much information actually
Yeah.
is less of a tool, in my opinion.
And also, there's studies that have been written up that it's not healthy to have a lot of ultrasounds.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think a lot of times that, like you said, modern medicine has this technology, but we need to always question the technology, number one. what could be the immediate and or long-term side effects. And we don't have a lot of long-term side effects of technology that is out there. But with ultrasounds, people think it's benign with pregnancy. And I like the people I'm involved with, these young friends of Alannah, I'm like, okay, I think you should read this.
Yeah.
This is for education. This is what we know now in the history of ultrasounds. But I remember having a patient and she was older and of course dying to get pregnant. And then they did an ultrasound and then she lost the baby.
Yeah.
So of course that is extreme situation.
But that isn't.
But it's
And that's
common. It
and
does happen.
yeah, it has happened. And so she doesn't know, but she asked me, do you think, Dr. Connealy, do you think that happened? I said, well, I've read lots of different studies about ultrasound that can be cautious, situations that we
But I
need to
think
be aware of.
overall they're generally very safe. But I've heard
Generally very
yeah.
safe. And that's what I tell people for imaging, like body imaging. Like ultrasound's a great way to look at the body. And because it's not radiation and it's not, injurious. But at the same time, probably don't do one every month.
Yeah. Yeah, like, or also like the early ultrasound where it's like intravaginal and you're like, do I need that up inside of me? I do an ultrasound at 20 weeks. It's
Right.
just,
Which is a good time.
it's helpful. Like, my midwife's like doing it and I trust them. But I also have friends that didn't do any ultrasounds, and that is what made them feel more comfortable. And I had friends that did, a lot of ultrasounds.
Right.
But it's like they think like, oh my gosh, my doctor said I can do this, and people like just want to connect with their baby in that
And
way,
know that the baby's
and know that their baby's safe. So that, like, for some people that's extremely comforting.
right.
But sometimes I'm like, just close your eyes and connect to your baby that way. Like,
Yeah.
your baby's there, you can feel the kicks.
I
Like,
think energetically, like being like freaking out, like I need to see this scan every single week, like says so much more energetically that you're
yes, and for
you're
some
not at
people
peace.
that brings peace of mind, and that's going to have a healthier outcome.
Right.
But for some people, if you're going into it being like extremely fearful, being like,
Yeah.
this is dangerous to my baby,
Yeah.
then maybe don't do it. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
Be at peace.
it's all
And
personal.
people need to, yes, but people should just read, the information and get
Yes.
educated. Get educated so you can
Take
make the
ownership
best,
of what
yes,
you're doing.
and just make the best educated decision.
So other foundational tests to consider, progesterone, like if you want to do blood testing or something other than like nutrients.
Well, first of all, before you even get pregnant, I think you should make sure that your endocrine system is most optimal. So in women, it's thyroid, adrenals, blood sugar, and ovaries. And so you want to make sure, because I remember listening to this endocrinologist, and he comes from 8 generations from Belgium. And he said it is critical that the mother have the most amazing endocrine system because she's actually giving it to the baby, which I didn't know that, when I was having kids. But I do now, and I always, when I check women's hormones to get pregnant, I make sure that everything is perfect. Their testosterone's good, their progesterone's good, their DHEA sulfate is good, their thyroid is perfect. Everything is perfect for them. And that's when you'll have a great pregnancy. And like, if it's not, like the adrenals aren't that good, I give adrenal supplementation. So I give usually organotherapy supplementation. So not medications, but just natural things to support that endocrine organ.
Yeah, the baby is using all of your storage
Right.
to develop, like especially your calcium. That's why your need for thyroid goes up. Like some people double their thyroid medicine when they're pregnant.
Right. And I always check women's thyroid. Like women, I'm not an OB, but they come to me every 3 months to check their hormones to make sure they're good, because the OB doesn't check them.
Yeah. And that's why I'm doing a Raina test before I get pregnant next.
I know, I sent her a Rena hormone test to do.
Oh, good.
Well, a lot of people are because progesterone can be amazing to maintain the pregnancy.
Well, I took progesterone with my
Yeah.
babies. So
I think
Look at her now.
progesterone saved my life from before babies, and more importantly, with the babies.
And sometimes I've seen a lot of doctors tell people to stop the progesterone, and you don't need to. Like you can, obviously, you can follow
but
whatever.
the first 3 months are the most critical.
Yeah, but you can also continue if you're like a high risk of miscarriage. Like there's not a huge harm in just continuing progesterone, especially because some studies show that higher use of progesterone can lead to like gifted children in some studies. I mean, back to me. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, progesterone in pregnancy could prevent a lot of miscarriages too. But then you have to think about why your progesterone's low. Sometimes though,
Right.
you're just older. Like if you're pregnant and you're 38, like definitely test with Rayna hormone test
Mhm.
or whatever blood test. And consider doing natural progesterone, not the synthetic kind, not progestin. Have to make that clarification.
Never,
Right.
never
Natural
that.
progesterone.
I also was like, it was so interesting because gestational diabetes was coming up. And I was reading, I think it was in a repeat book or something, about how when the baby's growing, it's like the first act of a mother's sacrifice is siphoning her sugar to the baby. And then that's why her metabolism in her cells switches to using a lot more fat because the baby's using a lot of sugar to develop. And so that's why a lot of pregnant women look like they have diabetes because they're burning a lot more fat. And like if you're high fat, it can look like diabetes on like a blood test, but this is temporary. This is a sacrifice like mothers make, which is so beautiful actually. But then we call it gestational diabetes and like get mad at women for having something that's kind of natural for temporarily sometimes.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
like the over testing thing.
Yeah. It's like over testing, over treatment, over diagnosing issues all the time.
They're like, drink this horrible sludge, and we're gonna see if your body reacts poorly to it.
Yes. It's
Like,
not a
shocker. But I think with my first, I did like a I just did a juice, like a random juice, because my midwife let me. And then with my second, I think I did a blood test, and it was really mellow.
Yeah.
So you can actually opt out of that if you want to. You don't have to drink that like orange, thick, gross thing. And then there's also a brand called Fresh Test that it's not as bad. You can get that.
Interesting. Well, and then another thing on the gestational diabetes, when a baby's developing, they don't have access to a lot of oxygen, and so they have to burn sugar instead of fat. To burn fat, you need oxygen. To burn sugar, the first few steps don't require oxygen. And so a lot of women are like, I'm cutting all fruit or all sugar when like you literally like the baby cannot access anything but sugar. So we saw some things on Instagram of a pregnant woman saying she doesn't eat any sugar. And I'm like, literally, the baby physically cannot
Yeah.
burn anything but sugar.
Sugar can be beautiful
Yeah.
if not overdone.
Fruit, orange
Especially
juice.
fruit. Fresh fruit should be.
Yeah, like it wasn't like
Absolutely.
nature's test to be like, this is the most delicious thing you'll ever eat. Gotcha. Like we're supposed to eat it.
Well, yeah, some animals can't even taste sugar. And our tongue is like, tip of the tongue's like, does this have sugar? I hope so, No, seriously though, like we it wouldn't be on this earth if we weren't meant to eat fruit. In my opinion.
That's my opinion.
But then that goes back to good nutrition during pregnancy is like the most important thing for the baby's physical development. Like the B12, the folate, the B6.
Yes, all of it.
And that's why they prescribe prenatals, because a lot of people are deficient in a lot of things. So
Right.
they're like, this
And
is
they
a
don't-
safety
and they don't
thing.
eat well.
Yeah. And so they
It's a
saw a lot of
safety
bad
net.
Yeah,
outcomes, and they're like, we're gonna treat the whole population as if they're one person, and we don't have enough time to spend with the one mother that's
That's right.
creating this life, so we're just gonna do this blanket thing and pretend everything's okay. And if something's not good and there isn't a positive outcome, well, did you do your prenatals? What prenatals did you do? Like, it's all on the mother and
Right.
not the care that she was receiving.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have good public health with pregnant women.
Well, it's all operating from this like safety net of like, that's what ultrasound.
That people are incapable of eating well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's like blanket
Well, because we've
solutions.
poisoned all their food, so we're like,
right.
you're not gonna.
Yes.
It's gonna be hard out there to eat what you need to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was reading older women require a little bit more vitamin E. So we got a lot of questions about like older women, what should you do differently or if anything when you're pregnant? And maybe like a little bit more vitamin E when you're older. I do transdermal vitamin E because vitamin E is very hard to find high quality versions of because it's all made from like soybean oil now.
I
So
hate to see it.
a lot of these supplements are like, bastardized, I guess. So, okay, yeah. And then also making sure your thyroid's healthy, your progesterone's healthy. Because those two things are like absolutely crucial. Yeah, this note says caution that children of mothers who take progesterone tend to be fairly headstrong. So,
Interesting.
I love a headstrong child.
Yes.
I think that's probably a positive thing, right?
Yes.
And then a lot of people, like I was talking to one of my friends, and she was like, my OB said I shouldn't take progesterone. They don't have like the studies for that. I'm like, it's literally called the progestational hormone. Like that's where the name comes from, progestational. And she was like, yeah, they just don't know about it. And I'm like, they don't know about progesterone, like as a hormone? Like, what does that even mean? So you really gotta do your own research on this.
Yeah, if your OB doesn't know about progesterone, that's not your OB. That's
That's someone on the street.
yeah. Like you want them to know about all of the things that are required when you're pregnant.
Number
Like,
one hormone.
how do you not know about that? Like, I'm not putting my life and my baby's life in your hands if you're not aware of this.
Yeah, progesterone is the number one hormone you need to maintain a child. Like that is the hormone. It raises a lot during pregnancy, 800 times more than normal life. And that's probably why you're a better person during pregnancy.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Everybody loves me.
I'm so excited for you to get pregnant and us to see the side of you. We're waiting. We're waiting.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Okay, now we're going to take some house calls. We had some amazing people ask questions, so we're going to go.
Things you can do for your body for cancer. And I'm wondering, what would you say are the top 5 to 10 things that come to mind for cancer prevention? And if you could elaborate a little bit on what you say. So if you say diet, what kind of diet do you think is best? If you say sleep, how many hours do you suggest? Things like that. And I have had this lingering question for you for so long. Maybe I missed it being addressed somewhere, but I'm so curious your thoughts on coffee enemas.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So whether you're talking about cancer or heart disease, which are the top 2 killers, the third is prescription drugs. But the most important thing that people can do on a daily basis to have great health is sleep. Your day starts when you go to sleep, so you should sleep about 8 to 9 hours. Drink purified water. Eat foods that are nutrient dense, which is protein, meat, fruits, vegetables. You need to move every day. You have 800 muscles. You need to move, hopefully outside if you can, get sunshine every day, but move, because people are just not, exercising and moving their body enough. Then
On the food thing, because she was like, I want really specific things. And I would just like to add that, like, truly being careful of your PUFA intake, polyunsaturated fat intake, minimizing seed oils is like the number one thing. But there's other things that are high in PUFAs that you should be wary of. So that being the number one thing in my mind
that's right.
for food.
For food, yes, exactly. Organic, buy organic.
Yeah, as minimal pesticide use as you can, which is really hard to ask for, but if possible.
But try with great intention to
Yeah.
buy organic.
And then
And-
keeping your stress as low as possible too.
That's the last thing to do, is take inventory of yourself, because stress is a whole cascade of chemical reactions that really predispose us to cancer. And a lot of us don't know that we're stressed.
Yeah, it's like
We-
low grade.
We think that we're not stressed, because I talk to patients all the time and they go, oh no, I don't have any stress. I'm like, wow, you're the first person I've met that, doesn't have stress. But yes. And then when you talk to them, when you explore that and you explore their life, it's very clear their stress. And so, but you got to take inventory. So you could do that with a girlfriend. You could go to a therapist, maybe your parents or someone that can say, look, I've noticed, but we got to listen also. And we got to listen to our friend or sibling or parent or whoever saying, you're really, really stressed. Or maybe your children. I remember years ago coming in the garage, and when my kids were young, and they're like, Mom, you're really stressed. And I'm like, oh, they've never said that to me. And so it made me have self-reflection about that, because your children feel everything. They know everything. They
All
feel
your
everything.
energetic vibrations.
So I was always mindful and cautious about not imposing my stress onto them. And then
you have to unpsych yourself from the world, from society,
right.
which I
So supplement wise,
like is really
It's a
important.
low ask.
yeah. So
It's a little thing, but you have to.
right.
approach everything with like eyes wide open. Because like if
Yes.
you listen to the nonsense on the news, like
Right.
where are you gonna end up?
Yeah. Well, do.
Stressed.
And we have so many outlets today. We have meditation, we have all kinds of apps to like really calm us, relax us, and doing yoga even. But you want to make sure that you are exhibiting a calm state now that they have heart rate variability where you can actually check
I
the
don't know if that's. I think
heart rate.
I'm skeptical of the HRV movement.
Well,
That's a
the
whole other
studies
deal.
with heart math, they're pretty excellent.
I don't think it's about staying calm. I think it's about staying in flow and
In
in peace.
balance, yes, in
And
homeostasis.
yeah,
But we don't know what that is, right? Until we usually have something happen and then we have to do inventory. And then it's like revealed to us like what things we need to resolve or what we need to transform that negative experience into good.
hmm
And so that's why I think it's just so important to like you can't therapize yourself, but your friend can tell you things, your parents can tell you, your siblings can tell you things, and you want to listen and at least listen to what they have to say, as long as they're trying to be caring and loving and not come from being critical.
Yeah, and you can't open up that box to too many people. You have to
No.
keep that small. I did a yoga training when I was quite young, and one of the teachers was talking about meditation, and he was saying bliss isn't just about like, always being at like a level state and like nothing upsetting you. Bliss is being like, okay, this bad thing happened. I acknowledge this. How to get back to like bliss,
hmm
essentially. And
That's so
so
true.
taking inventory when like something is a bump in the road, how do you get back to your normal, to feeling good and not being like overwhelmed by whatever that was?
yeah. And
Well,
hand-
it's like surfing, like you've got to find the wave to go up and then it nicely comes down.
Yeah.
And so life is, and Alannah always said a word to me called unflappable. And I think that is. So you like process to become unflappable. And so,
Big SAT word girl over here.
oh, is that right? Okay.
I'm a big SAT girl. Love those SAT words. Unflappable.
Yes.
It's a good one.
So the last question she had was around coffee enemas. I know Jess is a big fan. She's always calling me from a coffee enema. I'm like, she'll be talking right
So
now.
she also wanted to know nutrients to take.
Oh.
So a lot of times people are low in vitamin D. So vitamin D is very optimal vitamin D levels. I would say vitamin C, because vitamin C, Linus Pauling in his work, and it's the antidote to everything. Plus it helps the immune system. Plus it neutralizes heavy metals, chelates heavy metals. It's something we all should be taking every day. I think the other thing would be good to do is pancreatic enzymes. The first experiment of pancreatic enzymes in cancer was 100 years ago with Professor John Beard. And so it's so fascinating that a mother makes a placenta, and a placenta is a foreign body, but the mother doesn't reject it because she's making pancreatic enzymes. Then the fetus at 6 weeks starts making pancreatic enzymes, so it never rejects the placenta. So he did these experiments in cancer, and pancreatic enzymes are so good because they're important in digestion, but they're also for inflammation, removing garbage, and stripping the coating of a cancer cell so your immune system can go after it.
Yeah, women are truly shapeshifters because we're just like making organs. We make placenta. We make
Yeah.
a bunch of temporary organs.
Right.
And you're like, what? Like that's hard?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know because our like breasts change size all the time, and like I don't think men realize that like our body is like in fluid motion with the earth, like
With the
we're-
moon.
with the moon,
everything.
with everything.
So one other thing that also I think is we are exposed to so much garbage today, toxins. And so I remember years ago, I read a book called Detoxify or Die. And this was years ago because I raised my kids without plastics or anything. And our neighbors would like, don't you know plastic? And I said, yeah, do you know how like toxic? And this was like 35 years ago. And so then, of course, 35 years ago to now, I mean, now it's, the toxicity, it's like 2 million toxins. So inside of our cells, we make something called SOD, superoxide dismutase. We also have this great other chemical that we make called glutathione, the master antioxidant. So SOD is the cleans out the internal garbage can. So we have the inside of the cell remains healthy. So that's another supplement that someone may need to take. Not everyone needs to take, but the C, the D, and possibly pancreatic enzymes. And one other supplement that you make from food would be parsley. Parsley is very high in apigenin, and apigenin is so amazing. It's anti-cancer, it's anti-aging. You puree parsley with some phospholipids, and it's highly absorbed. And that is something you can make for a week and drink a little bit every day.
You were talking about glutathione,
Yeah.
and when you do a coffee enema,
Yes.
it helps your body produce glutathione.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so coffee enemas were first discovered in World War I, though. So the nurses said, like, okay, how do we get people out of pain? Because there was no pain medicine. There wasn't Tylenol and ibuprofen and all the other pain medicines. And saying, the doctors love coffee. Let's just try coffee enema. So they did, and everyone, they felt so much better. And so now you're right. That's the study showed that it increases glutathione. So a lot of our patients do it. Some of them, there was a famous German oncologist, Dr. Gerson, and that was part of his protocol.
He's big on those.
Because he talked about his 42 cases of pancreatic cancer. So it's interesting, over the years, I will tell a patient to do a coffee enema, and they look at me like, what? And then I go, okay, just when you're ready. And then they'll come back to see me a year now. Oh, Dr. Connealy, I tried that coffee enema. I now travel with the coffee enema. And so it is, patients do feel
Well,
much
from a
better.
repeat perspective, it is aligned because of he's very keeping the colon clean from bacteria. I've never done a coffee enema.
You should try.
Girl, maybe Jess can teach you how to do it. She's probably got it down.
I've walked a lot of people through it.
Yes.
Like pregnant friends, like husbands, like everyone in my life. I will make you do a coffee enema at some point. Like my best friend was about to have her baby. She was trying to induce, she was at 40 weeks, and I was like, okay, I'll watch our 3 sons in the living room. I'll talk you through the bathroom door of how to do a coffee enema. I'm like, this is totally fine, and this is what we're doing on a Tuesday. And she is now in love with coffee enema.
Now a pro.
Well, actually, Merck Manual, I forget what years, the Merck Manual is kind of like the Bible for doctors. Coffee enema was part of the Merck Manual, guys.
It's great. I really love it. I highly recommend it.
But you go to a place to get it done.
Well, I go to get colonics,
and she does it.
and she will add the coffee at the
Yeah, if you
end.
bring it, yeah.
No, she will do it. She's
wow.
amazing. She
Oh,
will do
wow.
she'll put ozone, depending on what your body needs. Sometimes she'll do vitamin C. Sometimes she'll
That's
do
so-
colloidal silver. She's really an amazing
advanced.
woman.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of coffee enemas at home because
Yeah.
I believe in
People
practice.
talk about it all the time.
So from the repeat perspective, just for the science,
Right.
he's very about not having a lot of bacteria in the colon and having no endotoxin, which can be incredibly inflammatory.
Correct.
But some people don't think that. They don't agree. Obviously, everyone just has different opinions on it. But
Right.
a lot of people, I think it's probably a great thing to,
Also,
Depends.
do your own research on this. But when we were talking about fertility and stuff, a lot of women that experience morning sickness, it's sometimes caused because they can't detox properly in the first 3 months. So coffee enemas can help. But that's something that you need to discuss with your doctor and midwife, if it's right for your body, if your body's strong enough. But I know of a lot of women that will do coffee enemas in their first trimester, and it really helps them not have morning sickness.
Oh, interesting.
Take
Yeah,
that, what you
phosphorus
will.
too helps women not have morning sickness also.
Yeah.
also fruit and salt
Mhm,
and
salt.
fruit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
And baking soda. I think baking soda would be a nice. Now, young people, their body naturally has a system that if they're a little acidic, their body gets alkaline much faster. But as we age, those systems aren't as efficient, and so a little baking soda as people age,
I do a little baking soda at night in my water.
it's really good little thing to make your body alkaline and oxygenate. So
Big fan of baking soda.
Huge fan.
Mhm.
Baking
All
soda
the
bath.
yeah, baking soda baths.
Well, the best recipe is Epsom salt, baking soda, and a little clay.
And I do a little milk.
Mhm.
A
Oh,
little
little milk
a
belt.
little
Oh,
crazy.
I love some expired milk. It's like I can't let my milk go to waste. So like I'll just make the most decadent bath and it really helps.
Yeah, so that's the tea. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Celluverse. Here is to vibrant cells and vibrant lives. We will see you next time.
Bye.
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 Celluverse is the podcast where we get real about what's making us sick and what it actually takes to get better. Hosted by Alannah Connealy, Jess Donovan, and Dr. Lee Erin Connealy, this show pulls back the curtain on mitochondria, metabolism, hormones, toxins, cancer, and all the stuff your doctor shrugs off. We dig into the science, but also the lived experience of what it means to be healthy in today's world.
Just a reminder, anything discussed on this podcast is not medical advice.
And nothing can actually harm you if you're pure of heart.